Welcome back. The big story from Friday evening was Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman unveiling a slew of measures to stimulate the economy. Let me quickly take you through the key decisions. The first one, the higher surcharge on FPI or foreign portfolio investors is gone. The government stands to lose just 1,400 crore rupees due to this rollback. Decision number two, the government will release the entire 70,000 crore rupees to capitalize the public sector banks at one go sometime soon. From banks to automobiles. In a bid to boost Motown sentiment, the Finance Minister has said that higher vehicle registration fees announced will be postponed till June next year. In order to also ease the liquidity crunch, especially for the MSMEs, the government has decided to speed up the GST refund process. All pending GST refunds shall be made within 30 days.
This is only a start. I do not want worries to remain. We are continuously consulting with people. We are taking their inputs and responding to them. And therefore, this is only a start. Today, we've come with a set of our responses. Sooner the next week again, I do not want to give a date even now, but next week again, we shall be coming with one more set of announcements. Relief from enhanced surcharge on long-term and short-term capital gains. In order to encourage investment in the capital market, it has been decided to withdraw the enhanced surcharge levied by the Finance No. 2 Act of 2019, the recent budget time. All pending GST refunds due to MSMEs, till now that is, shall be paid within 30 days. Everything that is pending since I don't know how many years, from the time of introduction, let us say, of the GST, from then till today, whoever has got a pending refund problem, it will be sorted out within 30 days from today. The government has worked very clearly to clear it all within 30 days. And from now, for future GST refunds, every refund for future GST refund matters will be sorted out within 60 days after it arises. Additional credit expansion through public sector banks. This is something which we did announce during the budget session. Upfront, we are releasing the 70,000 crores. Upfront, we are releasing the 70,000 crores and additional lending and liquidity to the tune of 5 lakh crores can be made available by providing this upfront capital for the PSBs. We are very clear that this will benefit all the corporates, retail borrowers, MSMEs and small traders as well.
All right, a lot of announcements and a lot more expected in a few weeks. But we did speak to some of the top economists and corporate leaders on what do they make of these decisions. Hear them out.
This will be an amazing boost to address the current slowdown. But the finance minister has to be congratulated on the fact that she has not let the fiscal discipline slip, and yet taken these structural measures, taken these reform measures to try and give the economy a boost. Because these are the sector-specific measures that are needed and which will have a very positive impact going forward.
This is a joined-up, intelligent, practical, responsive set of announcements. It responds to a lot of the debate that has been going on about the immediate actions that can be taken to avert the slowdown. It was presented in a confident and joined-up manner. It is coherent, and it is a marked improvement on much of the stuff we have seen over the last 1.5 or 2 years.
All right, and that's not all. We also spoke with a whole host of foreign portfolio investors and market experts on what do they make of the FPI surcharge withdrawal and what that means for the markets. Here's what they had to say.
Let me congratulate the finance minister because she has done an extraordinary job here today. It's actually much better than what I expected, and when I think back now at the meeting that we had just 2 weeks ago, I had an extremely positive feeling that she was listening and that she would act on the recommendations of Asset Managers Roundtable of India. And I'm extremely grateful that she has responded so quickly and decisively. And not just for FPIs, but I also think for what she's done for the overall market sentiment, for AIF Cap 3, for high net worth individuals. This will revive sentiment.
I'm happy. Where am I happy? Yes, I'm obviously happy with the surcharge and FPIs going away. That helps, and that means now I can kind of go ahead with my fund launch in Gift City. Disappointed I didn't hear anything on Cat 3 because obviously there's business income there, which has a big impact. So, that was a disappointment. That is a big disappointment. So I would like to hear more on that. Hopefully, the finance minister doesn't forget domestic investors.
All right, so FPIs are happy with the decisions that are taken, but you just heard that the government will release 70,000 crore rupees to capitalize PSU banks at one go. Abhishek Kothari is here with what this will mean for the sector. Abhishek?
In order to strengthen the PSU banks, government has announced an upfront of 70,000 crore of capital that they had budgeted via bonds in H1 itself. And this is for the first time that any government is capitalizing PSU banks in terms of the budgeted, estimates in H1 itself. Taking a cue, if you look at the capitalization of PSU banks as on Q1 FY20, IDBI Bank, Central Bank, Indian Overseas Bank, PNB and UCO Bank have their Tier 1 ratio below 8.5%. Even Canara Bank has a little below, 9%. So these are the banks who might get capitalization based on the fact that, they need to get capitalized up to 9%. In hindsight, it can be said that, a major chunk of the capital will flow into these banks. What analysts do mention is that, in terms of strengthening the PSU banks, it will benefit the NBFC sector as well because the pricing and the quantum of funds to NBFC sector will increase. So the likes of Bajaj Finance, Chola, Muthoot, Shriram Group will be the key beneficiaries. However, on the losing side, you will have HFCs and private banks under pressure given the fact that pricing, especially on the mortgage portfolio, will increase as these PSU banks will do faster rate transmission into the system. Back to you.
Right, that was about the PSU banks, but the finance minister also quelled fears over BS4 vehicles, says they won't go off the roads after BS6 transition next year, and defers the higher registration charge on vehicles till June next year. Listen in.
The revision of one-time registration fee, there was really a lot of heartburn, understandably, on the registration fee being asked up front and so on. We have deferred it till June 2020. There is no need on that to have any worry. The next is, importantly, because inventories are stocking up and piling up in car manufacturing companies. Today, you get a 15% depreciation on them. An additional 15% depreciation on all vehicles, not only this, not only that, on all vehicles, to increase it to 30% acquired during the period from now till March 2020.
Chief Shireen Bhan also caught up with the leaders from the auto sector. Here's what they make of this decision that is announced in the meeting on Friday.
I think all of these are very positive steps. And there are other positive steps which the finance minister has taken, including what has been done about consumer finance, about inventory financing, about the decision-making by the banks in making settlements, about MSMEs, a whole bunch of things. But I think what is most impressive to me is the kind of commitment and responsiveness which the finance minister and the finance ministry has shown to the problems raised by the different sectors in the interactions with the finance minister just about a week ago. And I don't think I ever recollect seeing this kind of positive and quick and comprehensive response from the finance ministry ever. And I think that is the one which bodes the best for the future.
Clearly, what has been announced today and the step that the government has taken does a lot to boost sentiment. From the viewpoint of the government, government is listening. And listening at what needs to be done, reacting to what has been talked about, even reversing some of the earlier decisions that they've taken to help the economy grow.
All right, and what does that mean for the auto stocks, which while they have outperformed this month, they have been under severe pressure over the last 1 year? Sonia joins in to tell us how this will impact the auto sector. Sonia.
Well, thanks a lot for that. Yes, there were a lot of positive statements made by the finance minister, but most of the industry believes that this may not result in a big up move in demand in the near term. So as we know, importantly, there will be a release of 70,000 crores of capital upfront for PSU banks. This will, of course, improve liquidity in the system, especially for dealers. It will reduce the cost of ownership. All BS4 vehicles purchased before the 31st of March 2020 can be used till their registration period ends. So the rollback of the earlier measure, which is a relief, of course, or what is also a relief is that the finance minister has deferred the increase in that one-time vehicle registration fee to June 2020. There will be a new scrappage policy for cars older than 15 years, but more clarity is awaited on that. And there is this additional 15% depreciation on vehicles bought from now till the 2020 of March as well. Now, you know, I did reach out to a lot of industry players. They believe that there are a couple of negatives as well. A, there is no clarity on the scrappage policy, so that's negative for commercial vehicle makers. B, there is no major stimulus for two-wheeler makers, so that could be a bit of a disappointment. Even for cars, the government lifting the ban on buying government vehicles may not result in higher demand because the fisc is very tight. And also on this additional 15% depreciation, in any case 70% of the operators are small fleet operators, so this will impact only 30% that could be incentivized for pre-buying. So yes, these are positive statements, but this may not result in higher demand in the near term.
A lot for joining us and giving us all that impact, but it's time for a break now. Up next, the Bimal Jalan panel.